So okay, the question
scary
I
thing
have.
with that one, but yeah.
The question I have. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping over the place. But the question I have essentially is like, how do we combat this? Because I feel like right now, like you're seeing all these kids have it, and it's like you're definitely going to have an effect on them as they get older. But even worse than that, I think it's having an effect on adults, because like technology has a way of being more convenient for things. And so you're right, making it more convenient to look after children, which is good. But it's also now we're kind of have an identity being created by this technology, where now this technology is kind of shaping how human beings are, right? Because think about it, like thousands of years ago, we had no technology to make everything convenient for us. We had to build everything from scratch. If you wanted to get to know someone or know something, you have to be there in person, suffer the consequences of all of that, rejection, the painstaking awkwardness, all of it. And that's kind of, that's kind of part of it. But now we've kind of got rid of that. Do you think that's a bad thing or good thing?
Well, yeah, I think that is a bad thing, because at the end of the day, like we still kind of need that ability, and also just for the sake of our own mental health, I suppose. You kind of, I don't know, maybe it is a bold statement to say that we need people, because maybe there actually are people who are more than happy to just simply, their computer, screw human interaction. I've had enough of humans. So? I'm sure there probably are examples. I don't know anyone personally.
Those people need... They just haven't had the human interaction. They need... Because we can't... How is a human being... It's like you were saying earlier, we're animals. No animal would be like, I don't need other animals. All I need is a fucking stick.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, animals are capable... there are examples of animals that are capable of spending very long, prolonged periods of time entirely on their own. I think bears are an example of that. I could be completely wrong. But I think bears or tigers or like... animals that are nearly extinct, I'm sure plenty of them will travel long distances, that kind of thing.
Time on their own. So you're saying human beings are kind of developing that way also. We're kind of evolving down towards that direction.
Not necessarily evolving. It just seems like we're creating the frameworks for that to be kind of encouraged. You go to a McDonald's, you're not going to speak to anyone to order. And you probably don't want to either. You probably would rather go to the tablet thing and order that way. Same with Wetherspoons or ordering a drink to your table. A lot of people will just order it to the table instead of having to go through the whole rigmarole. That's a slightly different... Don't get me wrong, I think that might be a bad example because you're already at the table with your mates. So to be honest, it's not... I couldn't say that that's that negative to be encouraged to order to the table. That's one thing that I think, in my opinion... That's all right, It's okay to order to the table if you want.
See, that's the thing. It's about convenience, though. No, because you're right. That's convenient to just get the thing ordered to your table.
Yeah.
But it's also convenient to let a robot raise your child. But that doesn't mean it's good for society.
True.
The question I'm asking is then when do we know when it's not good and it's past convenience and we're actually a society fucking up?
I think the thing is even if we know it's not good, we're going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, does it make money? Yes or no? If it's yes, we're going to do it. Well, we're going to do it, and we're going to get filthy rich doing it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just.
It's like an example of that, right? Because I know, so for example, I did business and management in uni. One of the things that we learned, one of our courses was on marketing and how we as businesses would market to certain individuals based on an identity that we put on them. I can't remember the name of the marketing technique, but it's like you figure out someone's identity and then you market your products towards that identity by reinforcing the behaviors you think that they would have. And you reinforce that behavior.
I guess it's just knowing your target audience.
Right? Basically knowing your target audience, right? And it's like we've kind of now evolved that through algorithms. And I think like the trifecta of algorithms, technology,
for, right?
Exactly.
Accepting cookies. No. Just
accepting cookies. You're right. Yeah, literally. We're just allowing these things to kind of learn more about us, right? And they're finding out ways to figure out how to market better to us. But the kind of the icky part for me is that I don't know if the technology has our best interest in heart. I don't know if we're building technologies which have the best interest and building systems which have our interest in mind, right? These algorithms, these technologies, they're built to just get more money, like you said.
Yeah.
But that's not what human beings are for. Human beings are for self-development and all these things. But we're losing that through the fact that we're building these things just to get money. Do you think that's the case? Do you believe that's the case? And if you believe that's the case, how do you think we got there and what do you think we can do about it?
Well, I definitely think money is a large incentive for the majority of many things. You know, I don't, I don't like saying that because I'd like to believe, I'd like to do things out of my own satisfaction.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But yeah, I have to admit, money's got to be a big part of it. I'm sure there are inventions being made for good. Like if someone was going to try and develop the cure for cancer, I really hope that individual who's trying to develop that is there because they simply just want it to not be a problem for humanity. But again, money will be a factor of that, whether that person likes it or not, and that will affect many things. That will affect so much to do with that invention, if that was to be invented, So yeah, I don't want to say that money's the whole incentive, but it's going to be a massive deciding factor whether we like it or not, because that's just simply how humans have been doing it before I was born, before your parents were born, before our grandparents were born. Money is just, I guess, kind of the common ground for us all.
No, you're right.
Because we don't have the cognitive ability to get along way that we want, or not the way that we want. Just like there's no there's no hippie world peace. I guess that just simply, I don't want to say it can't happen, but like it kind of looks that way. Exactly, to be honest, it kind of looks like it. We just can't figure it out. We can't go to another country and just love every person there. It seems much easier said than done.
On the question of like systems that we created that aren't good for us, how do we combat algorithms? That's the question I'm thinking, and that's one. There's no right answer.
Well, algorithms, I suppose, are there again for like the marketing's sake and stuff. Just basically, or like I know, for example, with social media, it's there just because it's likely to keep your attention to it. The algorithms are there to just show you what you're more likely to stick on the app for, rather than going away from the app and putting it down. Because I guess that's the whole thing with the social media. It's trying its best to stop you from putting your phone down. It's that's, you've got to snap yourself out of that cycle to put it down, which definitely I'm sure the majority of people struggle with. I definitely do. As soon as I'm in bed, before I'm sleeping, I'm probably going to be on my phone for however long. Sometimes a very long time, and I lose plenty of sleep for it. Sometimes I'm fairly, to be honest, rarely I'm disciplined with it, where I'll just put the phone down. I've set my alarm, gone to bed.
You see my point, right?
So yeah,
That's
it's addictive. Issue. Absolutely, it's addictive, and it is an issue. I think maybe that is an maybe that's not just like a me problem. Maybe that actually is. Maybe it is addictive, and I'm pretty sure blue light addiction, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Well, because blue light's like the.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure that's the thing. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely think there is a factor that it probably is influencing your brain subtly. But yeah. So there definitely are negative aspects. I think anybody would say that there are. I don't think that even the people who do it for a job, even people who have, they're content creators or whatever, they'd probably agree as well, even though that's how they literally make their living. They'd probably also agree to some extent, being like, yeah, actually, phones and all this short-term content or whatever might be bad. Yeah.
But then do you think they will say that the technology has been built wrong? These algorithms have been built, because you are right, they are built for us to keep sustaining on the app, and that's how you get your attention, and that's how you get your ad revenue, all this stuff. You can make money off that. But if it's making people addicted, if it's making people less intelligent, like, isn't that a zero-sum game? Like, doesn't someone at some point be like, actually, we bought these things to be, I guess, money makers, but like, these are actually things that are making people's life worse? Isn't that an example of us building a technology that just has gotten out of hand, essentially?
Well, yeah, like, definitely, but end of the day, there's a fuckload of money to be made off of that, Addiction is consistent money, isn't it?
Let's take money out of it. Apart from money, why else keep going?
Yeah, well, I think that the problem is it's hard to take the money factor out of it, because it's such a huge part of it, These people, a lot of people can make, a small amount of people can make a ginormous amount of money off of that kind of thing, I mean, there are examples outside of technology,
Yeah.
Well, no, it is technology, but there are examples outside of social media, for example, to kind of not really care about the idea of addiction and just to continue to make it even better at keeping you on that. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of this is controversial, especially considering the recent murder of one of the CEOs, but healthcare. I've had plenty of examples where they've actively done something where it's resulted in deaths of people. But hey, they got loads of money for doing it, so they're going to continue doing it. And if they can do it in subtle ways or just change how they do it to get away with it, then they'll do it and they'll continue to do it. Yeah, I think I hate to, because I'm sure so many people have heard the generic, money's the root of all evil, blah blah blah. I'm sure there's loads of roots for evil, but money's a big one. Money's a big one. I think. It's just like, yeah.
I don't think so. Like you mentioned, like for example, you even mentioned the healthcare thing, which is like very very topical right now, is going on, right? And then this guy, for those who haven't heard, this guy assassinated the CEO of this health company, and then he kind of put out a manifesto about it, and a lot of people are kind of on the guy's side because they recognize that these health companies are not being like fair. They're actually doing these things just to make money, and like they're saying like, yo, if he does that, how is that any worse than what they're doing?
Yeah.
And like they're going out there and they're killing loads of people by denying them healthcare. And
I guess it's easy. It's kind of like how, again, I'm not vegan or anything, but it's like I like a tasty burger, like I don't see anything wrong with it. But there is the perspective of like, yeah, actually, we've grouped a bunch of animals that like clearly need more space and like more quality of life, and we don't give a fuck about that, man. We're going to bring them into this little farm thing. We're going to have them in little tiny shelters, and we're just going to put them, they're literally there to eat, get to the size we want, and then we kill them, and there is nothing else to that, So I kind of forgot where I was going with that. I was trying to compare that to something that we were just talking about.
You're saying like that's kind of how you treat healthcare people.
Yeah, like for them making loads and loads of money and seeing their quality of life soar to like unimaginable like luxuries that like I would never even I'm never gonna know, to be honest.
Don't say that. You might become super rich one day.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily want to. I mean, I say that, but if opportunity came, you see, this is the thing, if money was given, I would probably be like, gosh, I'd have a hard time declining that even if I had to do something kind of like questionable for my own personal ethics. It's so much easier said than done, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard for me to go, oh, maybe I'm going to be vegan one day. That's quite difficult, man. I mean, tasty burger, tasty, it's good. It's so hard. Yeah, like I get why people think vegans is a good thing, like, morally, and that I kind of understand that perspective. But again, it's so much easier said than done to just do that kind of commitment. And that's what I was trying to say with like the CEO or like whatever, like they're not going to see, they like, and they probably don't want to see what like the really negative thing that they've had to dig deep for, when people own sweatshops and shit like that, it's awful.
They don't care.
But they're probably never going to meet any of those kids, and they don't want to see those kids because they don't want to think of that. They're making loads of money, and there's positive aspects that their company are providing to people. Like, people like a good shoe. People like Nike, people like all this stuff. They've had loads of history in the past.
Same thing with technology, where they're not going to change because they see it.
Yeah, because like they don't see the consequences firsthand, so it's easier for them mentally to go, okay, I am providing. There is some good coming out of this as well as bad, so I guess I'm just going to focus on the positive aspects and keep moving forward.
So then is it up to us individually to make that choice about how we're going to change our relationship to this technology? Because the CEOs aren't going to do it. We have to be the ones to be like, actually, I'm going to put my phone down when I go for a walk. I'm going to like have like a social media break, all these things.
Yeah.
On that topic, actually, what are some of the things that you think people can do to kind of lessen that addiction, to lessen that hold that technology has on people? Because right now, it's so bad that it's affecting people's way of life. And I truly believe that, imagine we made a stick, back in the day, imagine made a stick, and the stick went around killing people, making everyone's mental health bad. We would be like, what the fuck, throw the stick away. The people back then would understand that these tools are there to supplement your life, not to make your life worse. I feel like we've gone to a stage where most technology, social media, whatever we have, they're making our life worse. How do we, things that we can put in place, maybe you're thinking of doing it, I also go, but what are some of the things people can do in order to like offset the rage and the onslaught of technology so we can have a balanced kind of life?